I like, click, subscribe, do all that. You all know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This movie's called Beckett. An American tourist goes on a run in Greece after a tragic accident plunges him into a political conspiracy that makes him a target for assassination. An action-adventure film just came out, hour 50 minutes long. Spoiler alert, let's just get it. That starts off right off the back, giving his girlfriend a business. Now, apparently they had a fight before that, but when you intertwine with each other, the makeup sex always works. Afterwards, they start enjoying the colorful sights that they see out here in Greece. Then they go to a spot to get some food, and the news is telling us about these type of rallies. More specifically, they talk about this boy that's been kidnapped. Why that's important, I'll explain in a minute. How come they're the only ones in this restaurant? Well, anyway, they were supposed to be heading for somewhere, and it was supposed to take them a couple hours to get there. Well, anyway, after that convo, she's about to go to sleep. So she's knocked out, he drinks a little bit of water, you think he's good to go, right? But then his goofy ass falls asleep on the damn road too. Why the hell you didn't just pull over and get some Z's? That type bullshit caused him to swerve off the road, the car's flipping in midair, crashes through a fucking house. Somehow Beckett's still alive, and he saw this redhead boy and this other female in the house. He's asking for help, but they wouldn't help him. Then he looks over and sees April all the way over by the damn table. He gets out the car to check on her, but come on yo, she's dead as shit, come on. She went through a fucking house, through a windshield, and landed further than the car landed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your girlfriend's the done. Next thing you know, he wakes up in the hospital, bruises all over his body. He tries to talk to the nurse, but everybody speaks Greek. Officer pretty much the same way, but they end up getting a translator for him. And they got some papers from the sign making sure that they could transfer her body over to another city. Talking about the coroner is not in on weekends. When you hear the word coroner, that's a sure tall tale sign that she's dead as shit. So he makes a phone call to April's dad telling him the situation. He told him about the accident and all that stuff, but he didn't tell her his daughter was dead. I'm like, dude, why even call if you're just going to withhold information? Then he talks to this guy as a cop that explains the whole thing. Then he tells him about some people that he's seen in the house. The cop's like, that's impossible. Nobody's lived there for years. He was very adamant about saying there were people in the house. So he goes back to the hotel they were staying at. And as he was packing up her stuff, he takes out some Ambien or some anxiety pills or something. I'm guessing those were his pills. So he goes walking around in a state of shock. Keep in mind, this is 2 days later. And he goes back over to the scene of the crime. He goes over to the spot where April was found at. And he was about to take a whole bunch of Ambien at one time, basically to try to overdose himself. But before he could, this lady came out of nowhere and started shooting at him. He's hiding in the bushes. All of a sudden, this cop comes up. It's the same cop at the station. He's telling him, like, look, everything's okay. Nobody's going to shoot at you. There's a misunderstanding. But when he tries to give himself up, he said it was okay. The lady starts shooting at him again. Yeah, man, they was trying to get him got. What's going on wrong? You got police shooting at him? So he tries to escape, realizing he's high on the fucking mountains. So he's trying to find a way to climb down. Keep in mind, he's got one arm right now. And this motherfucker prepared to jump down. And got lucky landing on the branch before he hit the ground, because he would have been done deal out of here. Then he finds this truck to hide out in, looking like that truck from the Stephen King movie back in 1972 called Duel. I wonder what that truck is now, seriously, to this day. Anyway, next morning, these guys come to the truck, and they end up helping him out. He goes to get him all stitched up and everything. Then he gets a knock at the door. I think it's the police. And yes, it's the police that were looking for him earlier. They start smacking him around and like, man, we ain't playing that shit. And Beckett gets low. He gets the hell up out of there. Then he runs across this couple, this B guy, and he uses their phone to call. He's going to meet up at the embassy. He lets them know by car would take 5 hours. Train's gonna take you a while to get to the train, but he points him in the right direction. So he's running deep into the woods and sees some people on a bus over on the other side. So he talks to this guy and hitches a ride on the bus. They get him to the city so he can wait on the train. But as he makes it on the train, so does somebody else. It's the cop from earlier. He wants to know who he talked to or what was going on. He was like, man, I wasn't on the phone that long. So apparently Mr. Beckett sees something he wasn't supposed to see. So he grabs him, punishes him on the train. Then all of a sudden he's wrestling with him. The cop pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the foot by accident. And then he gets up out of there. So now he's running around the city. He uses a payphone, calls the embassy, and they're telling him he'd be better off with the police. He's like, yeah, the police are trying to kill me. That should have been a sign right there. So police are looking for him everywhere. Considering he's the only black man in Greece, he ain't gonna be that hard to find. Then we run into this couple that's been putting up signs of the little boy missing, happens to be named Demos. Beckett ends up talking to them, telling them inside the story. We find out they're like activist group leaders and they're trying to get Demos free too. They don't really trust him at first until we see the lady coming towards him. So they stuff him in his truck before they show up. Wait a minute, isn't that the bee farmer? Oh, you snitch ass nigga, you. Anyway, they get away and they drop into the city. They talk about this other group called Sunrise, and they're fighting against terrorism and all that type of stuff. So they get to this city, but then there's a police roadblock. He don't trust that shit, so this is where he gets off and goes on his own. So let's go through the city, but he's gotta catch another train. This time, make sure ain't nobody following you. He's safe on the train. But when he gets off the train, he ain't safe. One guy talking on the phone looking suspicious. And indeed he was, because he tried to cut him, but he gave him the business and ran for his life. He crawled across to the other side of the train and got help. These couple guys finally took him to the embassy when he meets the guy he was talking to on the phone. Then he starts talking to this guy named Steven. He says a call got intercepted at the police station. They was like, they had his wife transferred here. Or his girl. So he goes to see her, and yeah, as we all know, she's done deal. And it's all your fault, you big W. Hey, you not fall asleep on the road? So this guy already has anxiety issues. Imagine you killing your girlfriend on accident. You got cops and other people shooting at you, you don't know why. And you just barely made it out alive to even get to the embassy. Yeah, man, that's a lot. So he says he's supposed to be getting to some place safe and secure, but I'm like, isn't the embassy safe and secure? I already don't like where this is heading. But he is driving around in a bulletproof truck. Then all of a sudden he tried to taser him out of nowhere. I'm like, what? Is this nigga in on it too? He's like, nah, you ain't getting me, and made him crash the car. So clearly, whatever he saw in that house was something serious. So he goes to an internet cafe, and they never show us what he was looking at. Well, apparently he was looking for this prayer hands building. It's the two girls Elena and Leni told him about, because they work at this building. But as he's going there, we know the boys are following him. So he gets in the building, sees the two girls, explains everything and what's going on. Tells them they got people in the embassy, they fucking with him too. The guy's coming in, he got to dip out the back door. But now before he smacks up with some glass, and then he gets loose again. Then he runs with a crowd of people right into a rally. But for some reason he's looking up at this hotel, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is he seeing? We don't see nothing, but apparently he sees something. So knowing that he's being chased by the embassy man, that chick, and the guy from the subway, he breaks away from the crowd, goes inside this building, goes into a basement, and gets further away from the crowd. He catches up to him, thinking everything's done deal now, right? But he was close enough to pick up a pipe when his back was turned and bash his ass with his head. Then he tells him he's not expendable no more, it's done deal. The guy that was giving a speech was getting assassinated, so now we don't need to kill you. Then they're talking about the kid Demos. So apparently he did see him when he was in the building he crashed into. So this is not about some political thing of power, it's more about criminals trying to get a bunch of money from the kid for the kid. But he still don't trust this nigga as he should, and he wipes his ass out with the pole. Steel pipe action on your goofy ass, lay this punk ass out. So now he picked up the dude's gun, and instead of being on the run, now he's on some revenge shit. He saw the guy from the subway get deaded, then he saw the one chick getting away. And there she is. Lena sees him and starts following him. He chases her all the way up to the parking lot garage. He goes up to the rooftop, sees both her and the cop getting inside his car. Gets the drop on the bangs off on the cop. The girl and him are tussling on the ground. Byline busts her head against the ground. She got fucked up. Done deal dead. This bastard guy's trying to get away. He makes the chase. Keep in mind, a shot grazed his stomach a while ago when he was on the rooftop. And now this motherfucker looks like he's about to jump again. So he's about to time this shit to where he jumps and lands perfectly on the fucking car. That's ridiculous that he put a dent in the entire car and he's still moving around hanging on to the shit. What, he jumped like 3 or 4 levels to have perfect accuracy landing on this car? Cars are crashing into another car. Gets on top and whips his candy ass. And after all that, we hear noises coming out the car. They open up the trunk and Demos is in the trunk. How fucking lucky can he be? They had absolutely no clue to any part of Demos' whereabouts. And he just so happened to be in the cop's trunk. He tells Lena he should have died. Oh, you damn right you should have. From crashing cars into houses, to getting shot at, to jumping off mountains, jumping off 4-story parking lot garages to land on cars, and a multitude of other things. Yes, you should be dead. But at the end of the day, it's Denzel Washington's son, and King Kong ain't got shit on him. He ends up saving a boy who was regarded by the whole nation. Goes through some crazy ass situations. Bottom line, had his ass just pulled over at a rest stop like he should, his girlfriend would still be alive and none of this shit would have been taking place. Beckett on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already on top of this. Look easy, all the easy business. Big, because he got this slogan.